welcome back to my channel. My name is Wendy, and I'm going to do a Pinterest coffee recipe. This one is called the Spiced Honey Coffee. You may have seen it on Pinterest. It's very AI generated. So we're going to take a look at it. I will post the link to the recipe that I used down below. One of the things I would like to note is that instead of using milk, I am using oat milk, because I have a dairy allergy. So what I've done is I have pre-prepped my ingredients. So let me take you over there and I'll show you. So here I've got a 1/4 teaspoon of cinnamon. I use the Kirkland Saigon cinnamon from Costco. We've got 1/8 of a teaspoon of nutmeg, which is the Tradewinds brand. And we have 1/8 of a teaspoon of cardamom, which is the McCormick brand, I believe. Yep, the McCormick. All right, and then I also have 2 teaspoons of honey, and I have a 1/2 cup of Planet oat milk, the extra creamy version. And then I used my Gaggia Academia coffee brewing system espresso machine, semi-auto espresso machine, to brew about a cup of coffee. Now the recipe does call for 1 cup of coffee, or now the recipe calls for 1.5 to 2 cups of coffee. I chose 1 cup because I don't think my cup will hold 3 cups of anything. This is a pint glass, so this is what we're going to use. The other thing I'll note is I do have 2 cloves, whole cloves. Those will be for garnishing on top. So let's go ahead and get this started, shall we? So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to heat up all of these except for these 2 cloves. Let me take those out. We're going to heat them up for maybe a minute, 30 seconds to a minute. And what we're going to do then is pour in our coffee, and we'll let it simmer. While it's simmering on low, we will start making our milk, and then we will steam it, or not steam it, with the foamer. This is just a simple little IKEA milk frother. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. We're going to put this on low because this is an ultra high heat burner. We don't want to burn these spices. All right, so we'll just dump those in there. Okay, as that heats up, we'll start giving it a quick little stir. There we go. Now we're getting a little bit of that aromatic starting. All right, that's smelling lovely now. Now what we're going to do is we're going to pour this freshly brewed coffee in. I did a Longo on my machine. Scoop that crema in there just for fun. Now we'll let this sit here and infuse. I'm not going to raise the temperature of the flame or anything because I had just brewed my coffee and it's still hot. Again, we don't want to burn those spices, and we definitely don't want our coffee to boil because that would be gross. All right, Next thing we're going to do is move on over here and we're going to work on our milk. So we'll go ahead and turn this on. I know my pot is ridiculously large. The reason is I want to use the milk frother in this pot because I don't want to do another dish when I'm frothing the milk. So we'll let this heat up a little bit. Okay, now that this is steaming a little bit, we will go ahead and add in the honey. Now the honey recommendation in the recipe was 1 to 2. I'm doing 2 teaspoons just because I'm feeling a little sweeter today. Turn that down a little bit. Just get that honey to melt. Okay, our milk is starting to sizzle a little bit. So we'll go ahead and turn that off. And then we'll go ahead and start frothing this. Well, I'm just making a mess here. Yeah. It's looking pretty good. Go ahead and stop it. Actually, it's not looking pretty good, but we're gonna go with it because I'm not great at this. Over here is our glass. So what we're going to do is we're going to pour our coffee mixture. The honey should be all melted. Yes, it is. Oh, one thing it said to do was strain it. I'm going to use a splash guard because it's a very fine mesh. So we'll see how this goes. It'll either be awesome or terrible. No in between. I found that as you're pouring things, if you pour faster, it works a little bit better. Look at all that. All those spices are up at the top there. Exactly what we want because we don't want to chew our coffee. You know what I mean? All right. Now what we're going to do is we're going to add our foamed milk, our frothed milk. And I will admit, I do not know how to froth milk. So we're just going to go for it. We're going to pour this in here. There we go. Guess I could have added more coffee. You live and you learn. All right. And the final step is we will add the 2 cloves as decorations on 1 clove because I dropped the other one as decoration. And since I was a bit clumsy, we will also add a tiny bit of cinnamon. Because again, this is a spice drink, so just a pinch of it. 2-finger pinch. Let's not get crazy. All right. So, how does it taste? It does not look at all like the Pinterest. But again, I did make a few changes. One, didn't steam or froth my milk properly. That's okay. Um, and also, I only used 1 cup of coffee because I only have a 2-cup glass here. And I didn't want to overflow it or waste ingredients because, you know. All right, let's try this. Eh, I could do better. I think instead of using honey, which is a very mild honey, and honey I used is wildflower raw unfiltered honey. It's just local to my area. The reason I chose this is because in the article on the website, they recommended this. Um, but it's not very spicy. I think I was expecting it to be more chai-like. Um, so the way this actually tastes is sort of light and minimal. It doesn't have a strong spiced flavor that I was looking for. I'm not a huge fan of honey, so I don't mind that it does not taste like honey. Um, so with that, let's give it another try. Yeah, it's okay. I'd give this maybe a 2-star. Um, I don't know that I could drink the whole thing. It doesn't have much flavor. So, yeah, there you go. That's the honey spiced coffee. Thank you. I'm going to do a book review on the book called I Want to Burn This Place Down. It's a series of essays written by Maris Kreisman. She's a Jewish author. And the book is a set of essays about her life. Um, and the common thread throughout this is her battling with diabetes and being a feminist within the United States. So the book doesn't go chronologically. It goes just from one period of time to another and then back. So you've got a little bit of that back and forth going on. Overall, I gave this book a 4-star rating. I thought it was pretty good. She's a well-written author, and the way she keeps the stories and the essays alive is by not only going back and forth between time frames, which I typically don't like, but she keeps a common thread going throughout it. So when one essay ends and the next essay slash chapter starts, it'll tie back to either that previous chapter or one prior, so 2 or 3 back. So that makes it interesting in that it does tie together and it's not a series of discombobulated thoughts. The other thing I'll say is it doesn't necessarily have a happy ending or a sad ending or anything like that, because obviously she's still alive if she's writing books. I borrowed this one from my local library, so I didn't pay anything for it. And it's a quick read. I want to say, yes, it's 160 pages, including the acknowledgments, which is about a page and a half. And then she also, before the acknowledgments, has a couple of pages worth of other books that she recommends you read. And they're not books by her per se. Actually, I don't think any of them are. But um, they're all the same type of genre. So, like I said, this is nonfiction. It's based on her life. And the books that she recommends at the end are also, I believe, nonfiction. So, yeah, overall, good book. Highly recommend it. Again, I would give it a 4 stars. So yeah, thank you.